Hey, greetings and salutations. Let's be perfectly honest here. I'm in the same boat as every one of the rest of you. I only have one vehicle now, which is all I really need, obviously. Trying to live cheap, I recently got less than a half a tank of gas, and that was $43. And on top of that, Kentucky is pretty darn cheap for gas. I mean, it just makes me shudder to think what people are paying in places like Jersey and Oregon and Washington State and California. Oh my God, don't make me laugh. Here's something else before making this video. I read all the comments, and I notice a lot of you also read the comments, so surely there'll be some money-saving tips in some of the comments, stuff that I had not thought of before. Nobody could think of it all. I don't pretend to have thought of it all, obviously so. But most of these things are things that I also do. And a few of these are some tips I got from other people, which are really good. It's like I've not done that before. But money-saving tips, because right now, let's just be perfectly honest. Well, we have to be honest. The prices of everything are just absolutely insane. Food prices are just absolutely wackadoodle crazy. So are fuel prices. It's nuts. So, like in this house, which was built in the early 60s, the air conditioner is not that old, but I mean, it's quite old, and I had it repaired last year. Obviously, so if you can get it repaired instead of replacing it. A lot of times, and I was told by AC air conditioning geniuses, that it's far better that I repair my old air conditioner unit because they're so simple, and the newer ones are just absolute planned obsolescence. They just are. So I had it replaced, but I know, even though it's working okay, that the fuel consumption on that sucker, even though this is not a big house at all, is quite high. And so I have a window unit, which is a lot more fuel efficient, and I've found that I've been able to drop my electricity bill, not a tremendous amount, but substantially, by taking the majority of the load onto my window unit. I only live upstairs. I don't need to air condition the downstairs. I've shut off the vents to the downstairs, but nevertheless, a certain percentage of cold air makes its way downstairs. And since I don't live down there, why am I wasting my electricity on it? Heat rises, obviously so. No matter what you do, it's going to be colder downstairs. But anyway, it's a lot more efficient. If you think about getting, say, a nice $800 window unit, it'll certainly pay for itself within like a year and a half, depending on the size of your house and obviously how cool you keep it. It's a lot more fuel efficient than my giant old AC out there. Buy in bulk. You shouldn't buy in bulk in things that you don't know if they're any good or not. If they're regular staples that you always consume, like ketchup, so on and so forth. It doesn't matter really what you think about Costco or Sam's Club. I'm not a member of Sam's Club, by the way. You know what you consume, and you could save yourself a lot of money buying in bulk. I know that's kind of a no-duh, obviously, so. Here's something that I've been doing basically my entire life, and that is that I only live in one room of the house. I keep the lights off of the entirety of the house, basically except for one room. I know you probably have a family that you can't do that, but I've never been some sort of, save the environment, person that's, you know who they are. Sometimes just a little too agitated internally and externally. I'm not like that, but I've never believed in wasting power unnecessarily. Why am I got the lights on in a room that I'm not using or living in? I don't do that. People don't think about that, so I live in one room of my house, and I keep the lights off in the other areas. Here's something I never do. I never eat out. I know you say, you only got one life to live, live it. There are certain things that people enjoy, and I know that somebody's going to splurge. It's like you're not going to take it with you when you go. I'm not going to, neither are you. But don't eat out. Another thing is try to buy generic. Sometimes generic is like a dishwashing liquid. The generic stuff is watered down compared to like Dove or whatever. You're buying the same volume, but it's a lot more runny and more watered down. I do get that, but it's still a whole lot cheaper. Even buying 4 of them is still cheaper than buying 1 container of the really thick dishwashing liquid. And you don't need that super thick stuff. It takes longer to wash off, and you don't need that much to remove and kill the germs on your plateware and your silverware, so on and so forth. Here's something nobody does, essentially, anymore. At least I never see people doing it, and I do it all the time. You're not going to bargain with the people at Walmart. You know, the price is what the price is. I know that. Costco, Target, so on and so forth, obviously so. Everywhere else, I tell people, you ever heard the old motto, less profit's better than no profit? I barter on like everything, unless it's like Walmart or Target, and I really try not to shop at either one of those. Or, some big box chain store. You're not going to argue barter on a cost of a 12-pack of soda or something like that, obviously so. But on anything that's relative expensive, like $100 or more, I mean, I'll barter. 99% of the time I do that. Well, I'll buy this if I can get a couple of these for cost. It's like, well, you could sell that to me at full price, but I'm only interested in buying it if you put these in with it. You know, freebies, cost reduction. People, they don't do that anymore. It's like, there's other places I could shop. If you don't want to offer me a deal, fine. I'll just get it somewhere else. Oh, no, hold on. Okay, I'll give you 95% of the time it works. It does. And this is, you think $100 is $100 too. Here's another tip I've never heard anybody talk about. I'm sure there are people that mention it. $100 is $100, right? For example. It's not the case at all. I don't know how it is in Europe or Australia or Canada, but in virtually every state here in the United States, unless it's a big box chain store, blah, right? $100 cash speaks a lot louder than $100 on a debit card because there's percentages on that debit card, and they don't want to give you a deal. So, here in Kentucky, at least, and in Florida, I know for a fact, it's like, can I get this? They'll respond back, are you paying cash? If not, you're not going to get the deal. So if you know you're going to buy something and you're going to barter on it, you better be packing cash. Because $100 in your bank on the debit card ain't the same as the $100 of that green stuff in your wallet. It's not. You're going to barter, you're going to be paying cash. Because they don't want to pay the percentages. And they don't, there's other reasons too that I won't mention. Cash is king. You ever heard of that one? It makes a huge difference. I've been doing that my entire life. I barter with them and they say, are you paying cash? Which is basically them saying, yes, I'll take the deal, but I ain't going to do it if you're paying on a debit card or a credit card especially. I don't know why people don't barter. It's just completely ridiculous. Sell everything you don't need that doesn't bring you joy. If you don't need it and it doesn't bring you joy, and it's not like, grandma's silverware that you inherited, that, you're not going to sell the sentimental stuff. Why do you have it? I've practiced what I've preached on that. Everything that I don't need, since I had all the superfluous lenses, I have an enormous amount, did have an enormous amount of superfluous lenses, some superfluous cameras. I got rid of them. I put it into land. And there's some things I can't talk about that you can have a lot of fun with that are worth a whole lot more. There's very few things that you could have that you can wear the heck out of and sell it for way more money than you paid for it. There are certain things here in the United States that you could do that with. A couple things I won't talk about. One of the things I can talk about that you can do is the land. I enjoy myself on land. You could do, it keeps you alive. It's a place to unwind and relax and enjoy. And it's the money that can't be stolen. No one's going to run away with your land. I've been preaching that for ages. Land, 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 land. I can't think of another thing that, unless you cut all the logs off of it, the land pays you back, unless there's some sort of huge depression. It's going to keep going up and up and up, which has been exactly what's been happening on raw land, all real estate. Invest in things that you can use and enjoy and have inherent incredible value. Land keeps you alive. Land is food, clothing, shelter, security, money, protection. Land is a lot of stuff. Don't tell me about property taxes. I don't know where you live at, but property taxes in Kentucky are really cheap. I've done this my entire life too, other than like this shirt is like the most expensive shirt I've ever bought in my life. And I paid full retail price for it. Everything else I get at like Ross or Marshalls, or I buy used clothing on eBay. I'll look for certain things that I can't find. I'll like look for Under Armour or Adidas on eBay. I mean, like a third of my clothing is used. So what? Decent shape, I'll wash it, I don't care. Buy good. People usually buy junk. There's an old saying said, buy once, cry once. If you buy junk, you usually have to buy it again soon. So buy once, cry once is a good thing. It'll save you a lot of money. Credit cards and credit. Everybody's worried about their credit score. I've never cared about my credit score because credit is slavery. Credits and credit cards are the biggest scam on earth. They always have been and they always will be. A big secret about credit and credit cards too that other people apparently don't realize is that is unsecured debt. Unsecured debt is a good thing. Look up what unsecured debt is. It's way better to have 10 great pieces of clothing as far as outfits than 100 pieces of junk. This is really true. I see people, I got this pack of shirts. A pack of shirts, right? Really cheap. I could buy designer stuff at Ross or Marshalls or used on eBay. I mean, people don't realize that they'll have tons of clothing, but it's all garbage. Isn't it way better to have just like 10 nice outfits than 100 pieces of trash? People really do need to learn, and they're not taught by school or their family usually the difference between want and need. Do you need it or do you want it? If you don't need it, don't buy it. There are different times now where there are things that we don't necessarily need, but they last forever and they are inherent money. And you're buying them as a hedge against inflation, as a hedge against uprising, or a hedge against all the craziness that's going on in the world. I don't need to tell you about that. Eliminate out your streaming services. You don't need them. I know certain streaming services bring a lot of pleasure to people. If it's $10 really, like Amazon streaming service, it brings you that much joy, fine, keep it. But you don't need all these streaming services. You just don't. Upgrade to high-speed internet instead. Have access to every piece of material on the entire earth that you would ever want to watch in your free time. There's no need for big TVs anymore. I have a 27-inch iMac in my back room. I actually have it mounted on an x-ray table I can pull over my bed. I do all my work from there. And it's also, too, like late in the evening, I'll watch a documentary and just try to relax. I never get a chance to relax, but I'm going to watch something educational documentary. People don't need TVs anymore. They'll go to Costco or Walmart or whatever, they'll buy this super enormous TV. Why? A really good pair of speakers for your iMac, whatever computer. Just get a decent 27-inch plus computer display. Big TVs, no matter how good they are, OLED, it's just so passé. Nobody needs that stuff anymore. I basically I don't watch that much TV anyway, but TVs really are passé. Kind of like going to the movies is totally like, oh, that's so yesterday. Going to the movies is so yesterday, and big old friggin' TVs are so yesterday too. You just don't need it. The money that you want to spend on your stereo system and your big TV, spend it on high-speed internet and a large quality computer display. I mean, you have the entire world at your fingertips there. Various avenues on the internet for, watching anything educational. There's just no need for big TVs anymore. Hey, if you're rich, fine, go buy one. Most of us are not. I certainly am not. Learn to fix a part of your home, at least learn a new skill of fixing or maintaining part of your home at least once a month. Learn a new skill. I learned how to cut and join PVC. I learned certain things about plumbing. I know how to snake my own drains. I make my own clothing. You can't see them, but I got these gigantic leather sewing machines over here. I can fix my clothing if they get ripped. Doesn't have to be leather. I can fix all my own clothing. 100% I can, and I have. The more you can detach yourself from other people's skill sets by having your own skills, the way better off that you are. I mean, dependency is just a fancy word of saying that you're an SLAVE. I mean, let's be honest. There's an enormous amount of other things that I could talk about. An important one, however, is a staycation. To me, travel is stressful because travel is, even if you're flying first class, which I've only ever done once, and that was on someone else's dime, it's just, travel is, to me, is miserable and not nice. There's a lot of places I'd like to go. I don't have the money for it. Maybe just like turn your mind off for a couple days, turn off your phone, you know, pour a cold one, whatever makes you happy. I don't drink, by the way. Go get a bowl of fruit and like a thing of ice cream, something that makes you happy, and have a staycation. I go out to the woods. You know, I'll take an ice cooler with some iced Italian spring water. I got like 30 cases of San Pellegrino over here and in the basement. And I'll walk in the woods with my walking stick and look at nature and have really, really, really deep thoughts about abstruse metaphysics and field theory and so forth. There's a lot of places I'd love to go and meet people, but I can't afford that. I assume most of you can't afford it either. Me going up to my cabin is a staycation. 95% of the things I've mentioned in this on saving money, I do myself. I actually hold true to that. I only live in one room of my house. You know, when I'm not making a video, I'll turn these lights off. I don't keep the lights on in the house. I don't believe in wasting, even when power was cheap, I never believed in wasting electricity. Never. Never, never, never did. And please learn to barter. Unless you're at like Walmart or grocery store, you know, you're not going to barter on your groceries, right? You're not, generally not going to do that. Every place else, barter. Why not? You know, some people just think that's so passé. Just say, well, it means I'm cheap, you know, I can't afford it. It's like, no, I can afford to buy it, but, you know, if I'm going to buy it, cut me a deal. And cash is king. When you do that, you're going to close the deal on a deal or a barter. You don't pay with a debit card or a credit card. It's got to be that green stuff. Sound effects of flipping through money there. I do all of these things, most all of these things. Yeah, just don't use credit cards. You don't want to be a wage slave. I don't want to be one either. The way things are going now with gas and fuel price, and by the way, if you think gas and fuel is high now, which it is, 1,000% it's going to go up, up, up this summer. Experts on gas prices said the average in the United States is going to go, the average, by the way, I know it's already that expensive in California, but the nationwide average is going to go up to $6 plus by mid to late June through July and August. And that's really going to break the backs of so many people. To compensate for that, do these things. It will save you a lot of money. I do these things too. I'm tight as the bark on a tree because I have to be. Thank you so much for watching. I'd like to read your tips and tricks on how you save money, because I know you have something to say about that, and I read every comment. It's like, well, that's a great idea. Because I know other people read comments too. It's like, I'd like to save money too. So let me know what your money-saving tips and tricks are. I love to learn stuff like that. I really do. Thank you. Goodbye.